As you can see, I'm on the Fj45. Now, you've been wondering why I'm under it? Yeah, talking about the conversion. Right, as you can see, at the moment I've got the rear axle laying behind it, but as you can see, the current conversion with the 6B, you got this lazy axle here pretty much, right? Now this will give you a bit of an idea, so we're pretty much going to replace this lazy axle with that axle, but we're going to flip this 180 that way. So the diff punk in here is going to be sitting here, and then that's going to be pretty much straight along with the edge of this diff here pretty much, right? So then we're going to run a driver shaft from that diff all the way to here. And here we're going to have probably a center bearing carrier of some sort that holds the driver shaft in place, if I haven't lost you so far. Now, with that center carrier bearing, there's going to be a driver shaft that comes off it. Oh, if you flip it like all the way, we're going to put another transfer case right here, pretty much. I was going to try to put it right there, but because we've got this cross membrane here, we can't probably tamper with it too much for engineering. Now, what we're going to do is pretty much get the transfer case. I've got a divorce transfer case, so it's going to be a driver shaft output coming here and here. So, with this divorce transfer case, it's going to be sitting here. Now, with the rough dimensions I've got it, we're going to have to cut into the back of this cab a bit, which is going to be a little an issue, but not too big. So, what we're going to do is pretty much this beam here, we're going to cut out, but recreate it and arch it up and down, and then with these imprints, if you know footy series, got these imprints in, we're going to pretty much just move them up and make it look pretty factory looking. Now, if you've got a visual what I'm seeing, well, I've got a rough drawing, or roughly what we're seeing. So, that is the back of the cab, pretty much right there. So, that little part there is this part here. So, pretty much putting a big semicircle on this back of the cab, pretty much. Now, if you want any other driver shafts going, solid missos glitter pens. So, as you can kind of see, we're going to put the leaf spring, and then the rear axle, the leaf spring is going to sit inner. So, well, I forgot about that. As you can see, these leaf springs sit about here. Ones in the other axle are going to sit roughly here. Just for the sake of, with the rough measurements, the leaf springs are going to sit roughly sticking out about here. Sorry, up here. So, ideally it's not going to work with how this suspension's set up. So, we're going to move in a bit to make that axle work. Now, obviously doing this conversion, we're going to do it and we're going to remove this cross center support here. These shocks are going to be replaced somewhere else, and that means we'll be removing that thing there to the original conversion kit. Now, I've spoke to an engineer and it should be all engineerable, so it's going to just take a little bit. I'm still trying to get the transfer case, I've got the measurements. Yeah, so pretty much swapping that axle with this axle, flipping that 180 degrees that way, that bad boy. Put a driver shaft from here to there with the transfer case, and driver shaft to the original transfer case, and then the rest from there is just going to be factory. So that's step one of the underside. Seems pretty straightforward, but it's going to be a big old process and a half, and a big engineering job too. But yeah, pretty much. So list is get all the parts, half of them, draw up conversion and engine measurements, get the engineer to look at it, modify the car, and go camping with the car. Pretty straightforward, I reckon. Not too much work involved. I'll think of see about that. But yeah, pretty simple, straightforward. With brake wise, we're going to pretty much, that's got electronic brake controller for axle at the moment. I'm going to try to hardwire the axle, the new one, with the original brake lines, so that way we got mechanical braking, not electronic braking, to all the axles. Dicky body, obviously. She's a little wet. But yeah, pretty much that's how it's going to run. Yeah. That's nearly about it for the underside. Let's talk about the inside now. Now, excuse all this junk under this cap, but we got picture 2. Now, obviously, you can see it in the diagram. Seat, 6x6 transfer case, transmission. So, but if this camera wants to focus, come on, there we go. That's the original transmission table cover. That transfer case is going to be sitting in the cab, so we're going to cut that out and pretty much raise this floor up and modify that back part of the wall there. I do not have a picture of that. Hey. But yes, that is how we're going to do the 66 conversion for it. Now, with linkages and everything, so obviously the transfer case there, it's kind of a shifter, which we're going to have a bit of length of steel or something. We'll work something out later on. But we'll pretty much all sit probably about here somewhere or there, depending on where it sits best and how it fits in the cab. But it'll pretty much all sit there. So we'll probably still run the original 4-speed for now, and the transfer case may go 5-speed in the future. We'll see. I've got a spare 5-speed, but from my rough dimensions, the 5-speed is a bit longer than the 4-speed, which might interfere how I mount it. So I've got to wait and see until I get the transfer case with better measurements on it. But yeah, sorry, the camera angle. But that, yeah, they'll keep all that same pretty much. Obviously the interior is not equipped for running it. And then we'll change the old 2F out for 2H as well. Get some diesel power into it. Now, we'll be doing a series on getting this thing started as well. I am working on that. It doesn't start straight away, unfortunately, but it is what it is though. But yeah. So, see you in the next one. But that is pretty much the base of the gist on how we're going to turn this good old girl 6x4 into a 6x6. So yeah.